Padres Hot Tub is a community-supported podcast. That means you can help us to continue to create the content that you enjoy. Probably the thing you enjoy least is these ads at the start of it. Well, solve that problem. Go to patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, and for as little as $5 a month, you can be part of the incredible supporter community. Our patrons, a group that is almost 600 tall now. You get all sorts of advantages, including, Chris Reed, the opportunity to be part of the Padres Hot Tub Discord, rated 4.78 stars. In terms of relative success compared to most other social media hell sites.
These are very scientific polls that we have thoroughly conducted. Mm-hmm. The thing about the Discord is on game day, it's a lot of fun because it's very populated and folks are talking about what's going on. You've got diversity of opinions and and bits abound. And then on the off days, you get to talk about basically anything you want. It's really neat. If you're intimidated by it, it's very easy. Even a troglodyte, a technological troglodyte like me can handle it. Definitely worth it. We give away tickets. It's a homestand right now. Mm-hmm. One of our patrons is probably going to go to a baseball game this week. Definitely worth a look. And that's what you get in return. If you find value in our show, we very much appreciate the support. It keeps us going. It keeps us showing up. And thank our patrons for that.
Plus, live post-game shows, group therapy shows exclusive to our patrons, and so much more. Check it out for yourself. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Hot Tub, everybody. Craig Elston, Chris Reed. Rafi Cantor couldn't make it for this one. He'll be back. And we wish him the very, very best. Recording on Monday, May 12th, day after Mother's Day. Shout out to all the moms out there. Shout out to everybody's mother, living or passed away. Hope you had a good and memorable weekend. We are here to talk about the Padres. That's what we do. It's Padres Hot Tub. I mean, it'd be silly if all of a sudden we started serving chicken sliders or something, or, rating spicy wings here on Padres Hot Tub, like we do Spicy Wing Challenge.
I just want to say, on the way to San Diego this week, we did hit up the Popeyes, and they have a pickle glaze right now that is truly remarkable. We won't go any past that, but hit up them pickle wings, yo.
Oh, pickle wings. Okay. We have a delightful brine on this week's show as we will review the Rockies series, the Yankees series in brief, and the week to come, including some moving around behind the scenes. One more player to get back. And I think now we are recording this before the Padres play the Los Angeles Orange County Angels of Anaheim.
Correct.
Within the state of California. The Angels are here. So I may have a comment or two about the lineup, and you're going to know as I'm saying it, before I say it, whether what I said was silly or prescient. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the real fun things that happen when you record before the game starts. Okay. Just a couple of very, very quick things. Chris, new patrons?
We have several, Craig. We have Travis. Thank you very much for joining, Travis. One Leg Willie. We do appreciate you jumping on in. Misto Steve.
I'd say hopping. Hopping. With the one leg.
Either way, he makes a splash. Joe, Ben, and Jacob, thank you very much for your support. We do appreciate it.
We appreciate you greatly. PHT Breaks, new break coming out for you card collectors?
Yes, sir. And we got a really fun one. If you're in the Discord and haven't gone over to our PHT Breaks channel, for the month of May, we're not doing the standard thing where we open up a bunch of boxes of cards, split up all 30 teams to different people, and hope for the best. What we've done is I have procured several amazing Jackson Merrill cards, including 3 that are pretty darn valuable. One's almost worth $1,000, Craig. And we're going to open up one box in the traditional breakaway, and then we're going to get those Jackson Merrill cards out to patrons. If you would like to take a look and are not in our Discord and are not a Patreon subscriber, just give me a message on Instagram. But if you are in our Discord, holler at us, go over to the PHT Breaks channel. In the baseball cards channel, we talk about it a little bit, and you're always welcome to leave your questions there. But it's an exciting event. I really want to get it done, and we hope to do that by the end of this week.
Check it out.
Let me show it.
Oh, the fancy Jackson Merrill card?
I've got the fancy Jackie cards. Where did I put them? You know what? I'll hold them up. Oh, here they are. Right here. Look at this sucker.
Oh, there they were.
This one, this is the Big Daddy. And there's the Small Daddy. Here's Small Daddy. It's in the model of the 1989 top set, which is
I like that.
It's so iconic. And this is orange. It's a color match of the Padres colors, which I love. And this one is from the Topps Chrome Update series, also the color match, PSA 10, numbered to 25, really, really shiny and precious. So if you like this, you want your shot at bringing it home on the cheap, hit us up in the Discord.
Love it. Okay, that's it. That's it for all the housekeeping. All done. Baseball only going forward. Thank you for your patience.
That's baseball.
Is what the Rockies manager used to say all the time. But now the new manager will have to come up with his own catchphrase as the Padres left Colorado, and presumably Buddy could have gotten on the plane. I mean, hey guys, could I hitch a ride back to Rancho Santa Fe? Turns out they don't need me here anymore. I'm guessing he took some time to clean out his... I would love to believe that Bud Black was just renting the whole time.
He's just in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Denver.
Just been in a very nice condo. And he's just been there the whole time. Bud Black out. Padres helped him out with the most embarrassing loss in Rockies history, / most dominant Padres win ever, 21-0 on Saturday night. After which the Padres, who had won on Friday and Saturday, then proceeded to lose the series 2-1 by dropping a 9-3 decision to the Rockies on Sunday, because you can't win the series against this Rockies team unless you sweep.
Fair.
You got to sweep these guys in this spot.
You really, 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 really want to. You know, the Rockies have won 16% of their games, I saw on the Discord. No, they've won 17.5% of their games against Major League Baseball. And now being 1-5 against the Padres, they've won 16% of their games against the Padres. So still below whatever weird average that is. And the game of baseball is weird, but I think we all thought that the team was a little unfocused at the plate on Sunday afternoon. And Nick Paveta had kind of all of the flaws that we heard about coming from Boston show up for the first time wearing a Padres uniform. His pitches did not play at Coors Field much at all, and the offense didn't support him. So it was certainly a letdown. 6-3 on the road trip, though. I don't feel too bad about it. And Bud Black was actually the second manager the Padres helped get fired this week. So Ron Washington better watch his ass.
Well, only Aaron Boone made it through safe, and I guess he should be happy they won in extra innings. Or else his ass might have been out the door, too. They might have gone 3 for 3. That would have been sick. Well, Well, we bring up Sunday first just because it's the most recent thing. So let's just do it really briefly because you kind of opened it up. I'll finish it up. The approach was completely broken on Sunday. And I think it did break halfway through Saturday's game when they were up 19-0. And the parachute was pulled and the players who stayed in the game just started doing silly shit. Like Luis Arraez in his second to last at bat on Saturday tried to take a pitch that could have hit him in the chest and hit it to left field. He if you saw it, he tried to inside it out so bad he had to like contort like a gymnast to try and get it to left field, and he still did. He started swinging at pitches 6 inches outside the zone, and then that just continued into the next day. The entire team followed suit. Everyone was told, go first pitch on Germán Marquez. And it was first pitch ground out, first pitch fly out. Oh, there's a single, first pitch ground out. Okay, we're out of the inning. He literally had a 5-pitch second inning, Marquez. And that's when you know it's all over. So I was upset about it. And then the instant the game ended, the Rockies announced that Bud Black was gone. And that tells me that they told him before the game, you're gone. And that means the players knew. And the players sending him out with a win, it makes the whole thing make a little bit more sense to me that Marquez shows up with his best outing of the year after being terrible all year, and Hunter Goodman gets a homer and a triple, and the Rockies played their best game probably of the season, and it's an easy thing to figure out whether that was the best one of the season. Just go look at the other 6 wins and see if any one of them were better. And so that, for me personally, softened the blow of Sunday just a little bit. And after we mention that, we're going to go on to all the great things that happened Friday and Saturday.
9 years in one town in Major League Baseball is something that almost never happens. And Bud Black is, he's a Padre. He's part of our thing. So I want to give a little tip of the cap to Bud Black on his run, we'll see where Colorado goes from here. I can't say there's no way to go from up because this Rockies organization is fractured from the top all the way down. They're not going to fix anything by firing their manager. I hope this is the only win they get against the Padres this season.
Well, I do too, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Colorado starts playing better. And that's not to say that Bud Black is a terrible manager, but he had completely lost the room, the universe, the plot, everything. It was all gone. And I believe we both said on our Saturday night post-game show, that it was time. It was like beyond time. Like it was one of those moments where it's just glaringly obvious to everyone. Like, Bud Black can't stay in this job, whether you like him or you don't like him. Like, even if you like him, that's a better reason to take him out of the job. Like mercy killing, get him out of there. 7-33. What are you going to do? Make him manage to 28 wins this year, 34 wins this year? Like, what are you doing? Let the man go. Let somebody else come in and try and do something. Knock over the food table. Change the color of the toothpaste. Do something. Change something. The Rockies are going to change something, and they'll do better as a result. They're not. I said something Saturday night, and I mean it. And a lot of people were like, "Well, I don't know," but I'm like, you got to remember, the Rockies are better than every non-Major League Baseball team.
Yeah.
That is around. Like, so just like consider that. That's mind-blowing in a way for how bad they are. And you go, oh, well, yeah, this AAA team could get them. They've got two. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe on a day. But if you put the Rockies in AAA, the Rockies would win AAA. I'm pretty sure about that. God, if they couldn't do that, it's really sad. But yeah, that's the bottom line for that. The previous 2 days, the Padres' full-strength lineup returned and scored a grand total of 34 runs. Scored a week's worth of runs in 2 days and put great swings on the ball. And Cronenworth is raking, and Manny is raking, and Gavin Sheets just driving in runs hither and yon. Even Xander hit a lollipop homer that would have been a flyout basically everywhere else. But Edwin Diaz had a 3-hit, 3-run game. Arise got a bunch of hits before he spun out of control in his last 5 or 6 at bats. Overall, just a mop job by the Padres offense, just everywhere.
And not for nothing, they were without Jackson Merrill Sunday. Whatever illness he was battling, taking him out of the lineup when dude is hitting nearly 500, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, that shows up, and getting everybody back is going to help them go a long way. I would really like to see Fernando Tatis get going again. He is low-key really struggling in his last 12 or so games or whatnot. But Manny's going, like you said, and just having them tee off and that game, that 21-0 game, I'm going to remember it for a long time. Definitely for the offensive performance, because you don't get to 21 without absolutely mashing the ball. But just as important is that goose egg on the other side of the score.
Absolutely. And that was Stephen Kolick. And Stephen Kolick is now over 14 innings into his Major League starting career without allowing a run. That doesn't mean that he's Roger Clemens Redux. It does mean that he's understood the assignment, and like perfectly so. Since coming up from AAA, he is attacking the zone. He's using his good pitches. He is trying to keep the ball low, keep the launch angle low, and while he gives up some hard contact, that hard contact winds up going into gloves. It can be double play grounders, and it's considering he's not walking anybody and he is getting some strikeouts along the way. It's a lovely, repeatable, potentially performance. It's eye-opening. Kolick is yardsticks ahead of Kyle Hart, who you're scared every pitch is going to be a home run, unless he's throwing it outside the zone, in which case he's just walking everybody. And to be honest with you, eye test wise, Randy Vasquez isn't that far ahead of Hart as far as I'm concerned. And Kolick is the opposite of that. So I'm really excited for this young man. And I don't think it's crazy to think that he'll start 15 plus games for the Padres this year. He doesn't have to keep up perfect innings, but if he keeps going, he's going to be a really viable option for a while.
Him and Randy are going to be a fun comparison because they're such different guys. Kolick attacking the zone, getting good results with it, but, giving up hard contact, which is something Randy hasn't done, but it was going into the ground, whereas Randy's contact gets up in the air. I think the victory lap to be taken there is over Kyle Hart, because at least Kolick has a almost dead average Major League fastball at 95. I know he gets up to 96 and a half with it, but that is a much more stable option, and one that you can put into, Cincinnati's ballpark or Fenway Park or any of these hitters' park and have a chance. Whereas with Hart, you weren't. And with Vasquez, you're a little bit more worried. I gotta say, it was a fantastic job by the Padres planning for Stephen Kolick to make his debut as a starter. They had him go in AAA, get his routine down, become a starting pitcher. And then once he had that routine in his bones, he's come up and he's been able to do it, and they haven't been able to shake him. He's got a solid attitude out on the mound, and I think that our pitching depth is better than it has been in a few years, especially if you're one of these fans that looks at the team and sees shades of 2021 or 2023. These guys are the difference. These guys are the cavalry in the back that can prevent that collapse from happening if an injury or two comes down the way. Now, Darvish is coming back. It's going to be an interesting comparison the next month, man.
Yeah, and probably, and Kevin Acee wrote about this morning, probably the Padres will go to a 6-man rotation for at least a period of time when Darvish returns, and they'll just shunt out one reliever, from the bullpen. And it'll be very interesting to see how long they go with something like that. I wouldn't think more than a couple turns, but we'll see. That's a long ways down the road. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's just Darvish hasn't pitched in a long time, and I trust the organization's thinking on it because how we've seen them treat Kolick and how I feel like they've let Randy Vasquez know that there's some belief in him for how he's performed this year. I'm definitely not afraid of it.
It is kind of funny, and it's the nature of having superstars on your team that sometimes you can go, about 17, 18 minutes into a podcast and not bring up a guy who's literally 14 for 27 in his last 27. And that's Manny Machado. Manny Machado's hitting .519 in his last 7 games. .519. Over his last 15 games, he's hitting .375 with a .419 on base percentage and a .518 slugging percentage. Beautiful, beautiful numbers. The weird part is the power has just not been there. One homer throughout all of this incredible hot hitting for Manny Machado. Tons of, there's doubles in there. There's all sorts of line drive singles the other way. He's locked in. He's helping carry the Padres. And I don't expect him to hit for this type of average, forever. But I do expect those homers to come down the road. So it's pretty exciting for what kind of season Manny might wind up putting together, Chris, when all is said and done, when the power comes to complement the great start he's already off to.
I don't know when the last time Manny Machado was the the National League leader in batting average, but going in today's games around the league, he was. His Savant page is it's sexy because it's all red, and I happen to like that color. He's near 100 percentile on everything on the top 3. Your expected stats. That means his contact is fantastic. He looks good. He looks confident. I don't want him changing anything. I don't want him swinging for the fences. Where he's at in the lineup, there's going to be guys on base here and there. And once Tatis especially gets going, and maybe if Arise learns to narrow his zone down to, I don't know, 125% of what home plate actually is.
Please.
Yeah, please. I think that Manny could very well. It's going to sound kind of silly because we've already talked about, is Tatis Jr. and Merrill going to be in a race for an MVP? But let's throw Manny out there too. He's still doing what he does in the field. He still does that backhanded grab going across the third base line and throwing a seed to first base better than anybody else in the league. He's holding it down. We've seen the kind of cheap errors go away in the past 14, 15 games or so. They haven't shown up like they were earlier in the season. He's a guy that's locked in. He's the captain. He's not going to lead the league in average the entire go around, but maybe we start seeing a few more home runs because he is tied with Louis Arise at 3 still.
Well, and then, there's this other kid who's 15 for his last 32. And that's Jackson Merrill, who comes back, and not only comes back like he never left, he comes back like he just entered, the searing hot streak, that he's going to have for the season. Merrill up to a ridiculous 446. He has 16 RBI and 12 runs scored in 56 at bats. That's insane. And he's playing great center field. He's got the confidence of an entire army. he might be the best player on the Padres. Like, it's pretty wild to say on a team that has Tatis and Machado both hitting over 320, but Merrill screams superstar in every way, in the way he hits, at the times he hits, the pitches in the direction he hits them, and everything he does in between. Jackson Merrill is playing, 10 of 10, no notes baseball right now. He is playing at the level of being one of the very best players in the league, never mind best player on the Padres.
Mm-hmm. And so with him doing so, he can take over a game. He can win a close game where Michael King is holding the opponent to under 2 runs and the bullpen's coming in the 7th inning. Like, that's one formula to winning. Ideally, you want the guys ahead of him going, so you've got Machado doing that. We've already touched on Arise a little bit. We're going to touch on him more. I'm going to bring up Fernando Tatis only because it's a snapshot to where he's been the last 14 games, which is not great. He's still almost hitting 300, but the slug isn't really there. He has 1 home run in his last 59 plate appearances, and an OPS under 800 which is fine. Like, this is a perfectly acceptable stretch, but we would like to see him get into that conversation for best Padres player all the time. It's not exactly happening right now. The good news is he's also not striking out like he used to. I am very curious what his swing's going to be doing, because not every year you see a guy tinkering with his swing in the season like we're seeing Tatis do with his toe step at first, and now into a larger step into his swing. I don't know what the forearm has to do with this, the bruise. Like, maybe he's just worried that he doesn't have the upper body strength that he did a few weeks ago. But we'd like to see him get going back to that MVP level that he had maintained for the first 25, 30 games of the season.
I'm confident it'll come. I think that
Not worried about it.
I think that he is playing with something that a lot of guys would have gone on the injured list with, is what I think. And I think it's starting to show. And we've seen Fernando play through struggle before, and this kind of looks like that. When he starts to tinker, I think that's when the bad ideas creep in terms of losing his selectivity, and getting into a couple of bad habits. But I'm very confident that better days shortly ahead. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if a month from now, when he's on a super, super hot streak, that he kind of laughs and says, "Oh man, my arm was so bad a month ago." And like, he'll usually talk about something like that after the fact, as he did with the leg, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he came back from the leg, he lets you know. Briefly, because like we've gone through enough. Rockies are gone. What did you think of their new City Connect uniforms? On one level, I thought they were an improvement over the license plate, and on another, it just, I don't know, man. Like, Buddy Black in those pastel hues, as it's 19, not whatever it was at that day. I think it was 13-2 at one point. It was like, it just, I don't know. It didn't look like a big league ball club to me.
City Connects are so tough, man, because even the Padres one, my first reaction to them wasn't all that great. I didn't love how one sleeve was a color and the other one wasn't. It kind of hurt the eyes into it, but once I've settled into it, I love them City Connects, and I think a lot of the guys on the team look fantastic in them. Well, I did like what the production did. And that was that a TBS game? I can't know, because it was the Yankees. That
Apple,
was the TBS
no,
game.
I don't think so.
Maybe it was just the San Diego broadcast. But what they did is they had the Rocky Mountain sunset, and they showed you the colors of what people in the ballpark were seeing, and then they cut to the jerseys. And I thought that was kind of nice. If you're gonna have the connect to the location aspect of them be a part of it, they were all right. I'm nervous about the Padres ones, honestly.
The new ones?
The new ones. Like, there better be some fighter jets.
Do we really have to have fighter jets?
Fighter jet. Yeah, we have to have fighter jets. It's the only acceptable military themed thing. And I'm fully aware of what they wear on Sundays.
Okay. Well, is it going to be military themed?
It's San Diego, baby. I don't know. I mean, how are you going to get biotech in? Are you going to have like little DNA helixes running all around?
I mean, they figured out an excuse for their color pattern last time. They called it the coaster. I mean, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
The one last thing I just wanted to note, and I do so fully understanding that each of the last 2 weeks I've had a segment of like, I love Luis Ariz. He's worth more than his numbers. He's worth more than his stats. He's important to this team. He matters. It's all true. It's all true. He doesn't have to be all of one thing or all of another. You can say that, yes, he's won 3 straight batting titles and he's important to this team. And also right now, the last 4-ish days, even the days he's gotten some hits, he's played like shit. Like, and the last couple of days, he's been ridiculous. He's completely lost the plot when it's come to commanding the zone. It's I'm going to swing at every pitch. And if you're that, hitting 285 or 290, but swinging at every pitch, you're not Luis Ariz anymore. You're Alcides Escobar, who used to lead off for the Royals in the mid-2010s with a sub-300 on-base percentage. But he'd get hits. It's like right now on his Savant page, Luis Ariz is the worst at hard hit percentage, the worst at bat speed, which is normal for him, but also no barrels. His barrel percentage is 0. He has literally no barrels. He does have 3 homers this year. He has no barrels. His xWOBA is 283. That's terrible. So just like tighten it up, Luis.
It gets into like, what the hell is Luis Ariz? And when you're talking to somebody about him, you go, he's a contact hitter. He sprays the ball around. He's the sprinkler. Well, you get to do that by hitting the ball where it's at. And if the ball is being thrown at you and you hit it to left field, you're not doing that. Something's broken. And I do think it's approach. We touched earlier on how he has attempted more bunts this season than he had ever done in any season throughout his career. And we're standing here, 40 games in or whatnot. Also on his Savant page, you'll notice that he is near the league bottom on exit velocity. And that's because he's swinging at everything. And he may be able to make contact with everything, but exit velo is going to be pretty damn important for a guy like Luis Ariz. It's going to make the difference between a line drive landing in the second baseman's mitt or if it going into the gap and driving up the slugging numbers. It is bizarre that he has as many home runs as Manny Machado, and the dude is still out here bunting at the clip he does. He tried another bunt attempt this weekend in Colorado, which
on Sunday in the first inning.
Physically sick. Like, what? Yeah. That is not how you start a frigging game, boys. That is not how you set a tone. And I've heard everything from, well, he's slumping and he's doing the bunt to try to get back into it, to he's won 3 batting titles. Let him do whatever he wants. No, that's not how it works. Guys have to have a distinct and disciplined approach in Major League Baseball because the pitching is so damn good. And right now, Luis Ariz doesn't have that at all. And just because I have to, by law, I think it would play great hitting 5th in the lineup.
I probably disagree. But if the trade-off was that Luis thought differently as the 5 hitter and said, I'll never bunt, I'm up here to be an RBI man, maybe it would be for the best if you could promise that from him, but I don't think you can.
I just don't want to see the best hitter on the team batting 4th and 5th anymore. I want to see him getting as many at bats as possible, and it just boils down to being as simple as that. And I know
I
Arise
get
is
it.
great when he's going. It absolutely works. Just this year, we haven't been seeing him going, and Jackson is full-time going.
There's no logical argument to be made not to hit a 446 batter ahead of a spaz, which is what Luis Ariz is doing right now. He's spazzing out. So obviously I agree on that level. When you get into the baseball politic of it all, it's a little bit / lot more nuanced. But the last thing I want to say about Luis Ariz, who I still love and want on the team for a long time, the thing that's really irritating me about his approach right now is what I'm seeing as way, way too many pre-pitch decisions being made by Luis Ariz. Watch when Luis takes. Thank you. Watch when Luis takes a pitch. He has said to himself, I'm going to take this pitch. And then he takes it, whether it's right down the middle or whether it's a half ball off the zone. And then the remainder of the at-bat, it goes to the other side. I'm going to swing at this pitch. Oh, the pitch is down by my knees. I swing. The pitch is by my dick. I swing. The pitch is 6 inches outside. Swing. 6 inches up. Swing. 3 inches low. Swing. He swings at every single pitch. And the fact that he can hit a pitch 2 balls outside the zone and rip it to left field is one of the great attributes of Luis Ariz, and it's also the thing that kills him, because then he thinks he can swing at every pitch 2 baseballs outside the zone and always get a hit. And sometimes he does, but other times he makes terrible contact, and he's been hitting all kinds of ground balls lately, just grounder after grounder. So, Luis, tighten it up, please. If I know that if you went up there and turned off the pre-swing decisions and just tried to command the zone and swing at strikes, you will hit 375. Like, you will. It's a guarantee. You will. The fact that you can hit those balls outside, it's actually, I believe, cutting down your average, even though you are hitting some of them for great base hits. But anyways, who am I? I've got 0 base hits in the big leagues. So
he's a crazy hitter. Like, the dude is a unicorn. On an 0-2 count, he's got a 375 OPS. So if pitchers are directly going after Ariz, he's not doing so good. But that's barely happening. That's only 8 plate appearances in the whole season. When he gets to 1-2, that jumps up to a 1 dot. Like, he's a fantastic 1-2 hitter. But, and then 2-2, it's back down to 0.382. So you're seeing a crazy amount of inconsistency in 2 strike counts. Where you don't see that inconsistency? You see it in 0 strike counts. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. He's doing much better. So let's get into those counts a little bit more, my guy. And the thing about the stats you takes is we're going to talk a little bit about something we've barely ever talked about when it comes to the Padres, which is pitch tipping. I think Luis is telegraphing that stat you take because he just has a few more bat wiggles when he's up there swinging. And when the pitcher goes into his delivery on the stat you take, he's a statue. And if a pitcher can cue into that, okay, I'll just feed this one right down the dick, down the heart of the plate, and I'll jump out to the strike. I so desperately want to get ahead of this guy. If the guy gets into more, if he gets ahead of the count more, we're going to see that exit velocity tick up because right now it's at a career low, and all he needs to do is get a little bit more selective. I've been begging ever since he came to San Diego to go back to his early Minnesota Twins days as far as chase rate. And if he can do that, I really feel like he will smooth out these rough patches of inconsistent, sloppy looking at bats.
Completely agree. Okay, we covered the Padres Yankees series both with a couple of post-game shows and a group therapy show. Of course, those went out to our patrons, patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. You could have had it all. But briefly, in retrospect, you really got to give it to Mike Schilt because on a very rainy, ugly Monday night, down 3-0 with his leadoff hitter MVP ejected Mike Schilt at that moment went nuke. John Boy's breakdown was great and illuminating in that Schilt wasn't just airing out umpire Adrian Johnson and calling him an MF who doesn't know how to call pitches or whatever. He was specifically saying, like, our bench is the best bench in baseball when it comes to not getting on umpires. Why are you yelling at our bench? Why are you looking for trouble with us? Why are you messing with me, messing with our stars? And he literally said, do you know how many times a player's been ejected while I've been here? 3 times, motherfucker. 3 motherfucking times, motherfucker. I mean, it was funny. It was so funny when you found out what the subject matter was. But it's on 3 times. I was thinking it was like, you missed that pitch 3 times. No, he was saying, my players have only been ejected 3 times. Why are you adding to the list? It's really, really funny when you add in the throwing the glasses and everything else, and then the Padres get
memes,
right, and then the Padres get 4 runs and 2 swings after that, literally right after that. And a rise walks, which in retrospect is even crazier. So, like, it's amazing.
He locked in.
He did. He locked in. That kept the Padres from being swept. Because the next day is pitch tip day, and the next day is an extra inning. Actually, Padres top of the order failing in the 10th inning to get a run across because Devin Williams struck out Tatis Machado and Bogarts. And Devin Williams striking people out. I'm not going to pretend like Devin Williams is terrible now. So
it would have been nice to catch him in that pocket when he was complete crap and the airbender wasn't bending, but we didn't. We got Devin Williams when he's being Devin Williams.
But otherwise, incredible performance by Mike Schilt. Toddy had a rough series, and we get to the question of, our Padres pitchers, do we have an actual problem? Was this an isolated thing? Is this a Paveta Wandy specific issue, or is there a little bit of inattention here from the franchise? Because there have been some swings where you swore they knew it was coming.
Yeah, to kind of give a little rehash with the Paveta specific, he got into a thing with the Giants' Patrick Bailey because Bailey was on second base, able to look right inside his glove and then indicate to the hitter at the plate what pitch was coming. And that didn't wind up costing them that bad, but Paveta had to earn his way out of a really tight spot. He hollered at Patrick Bailey. Flash forward to the next game against the Yankees, an organization with profound resources dedicated towards analytics, towards all the little bits of the game, and they had something on him. They also have a whole bunch of film on Wily Peralta. So with those 2 cases in mind, I am not convinced this is a Padres problem. Like, I'm not convinced it's something that is going to hurt them throughout the season. I may be wrong. This is real inside baseball and stuff that we don't have a ton of access to, and we can kind of only speculate on unless it starts to become a recurring thing. And Nick Pavetta, throughout his career, has had numbers worse than he has with the Padres right now. And if this is part of his game and something that MLB hitters know about them, information gets around. Guys may get something on him, say on one club, but then 3 or 4 of those guys leave. They had division rivals. They had other teams in other leagues, and all of a sudden that information is in other clubhouses. So Pavetta his stuff has been incredibly dominant this year. We saw it help him get out of the problem in San Francisco, and then at Coors Field, where his stuff just won't ever play as well because 4-seamers move less, curveballs move a whole lot less. This was touched on really well, I think, in Kevin AC's newsletter.
Also, Letters to AJ did a great.
Oh, it was Letters to AJ. Yeah. That's right. It was not Kevin AC. It was the analytic writer in San Diego who looks at the actual parts of the game that matter. My my mistake. Definitely read the letters to AJ, because he was losing something like nearly a foot off of the curveball, and the fastball wasn't getting above bats like it does when it has that perceived rise to it.
Yep.
And if you look at his record at Coors Field, you know, I think in that letters to AJ, they also said, well, this might have been his best appearance in that stadium.
No, it was. So he's skippable at Coors, is what it is. He's skippable. There's one more series there. He shouldn't pitch that. Like he should not pitch at Coors Field. Period. End of story. Stephen Kolick is so much better suited to Coors Field, and even Randy Vasquez is better suited to Coors Field than Nick Pavetta. Nick Pavetta specifically is not suited to Coors Field.
Hat tip to Randy Vasquez. We saw that guy give a concerted effort to get pitches more over the heart of the plate, and if they moved out of it, yay, and not walk guys. And that's what he needs to do to be successful. So his start last year at Coors Field was a bit of a disaster, and I hope he unlocked something up there this year.
Absolutely. Last thing out of the Yankee series was we got our first look at dominant Dylan all year. Dylan Cease was incredible. His first hit allowed was a homer to Bellinger in the 7th inning. The Padres didn't give him any offense. So instead of being up, 5-1 or something, it was a 1-1 game. Then 2 pitches later, he felt a cramp in his hand. The trainer came out. He looked at the trainer and he said forearm, and he looked down at his arm, and we all thought, oh, and there goes Dylan Cease for 15 to 18 months. But point of fact, he has since then played his long toss, had his bullpen. Everything's great. Says he hasn't filled the thing, and he's going to start Tuesday's game. So one more hurdle, which is to watch him on Tuesday and see if everything is cool on Tuesday. And if so, then there you go. It was a little cramp. It was something that happened. No big deal. We move on. Fingers crossed that that'll be the case.
If he didn't believe that 100%, there's no way he would be pitching this week.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, he'd be on the injured list if he even had a scintilla of doubt about his arm. So hoping that there will be no issues. Okay. Again, as we are recording, we're like moments away from first pitch at Petco. The Angels are here. You're listening to this, unless you're a patron that really jumped in during a game to listen to guys who talk about the Padres when they play. That would seem like a weird choice. And unless you're that person, the result of the Angels game. We don't. I just want to say this: no time to let up. No time to go into cruise control. I don't want to see that 21-0 win have a hangover effect of multiple games where they feel like they can just throw their dicks out at home plate and score 21 runs. They can't. But with any kind of real locked-in effort, the Padres will beat the Angels. The Angels are bad, and they're in a bad way. They're not just bad, they're in a bad way. They don't have Trout again. They'll never have Rendon, but they don't have much of anything, to be honest with you. I look at their lineup on the baseball cube in the morning. It's not exciting. It's not impressive. And I'm not trying to be a jinx. I'm saying the Angels are bad. And last year, the Angels went 3-0 against the Padres. And I really want to see that get reversed the next 3 days. You've got King and Cease and Vasquez going. The Angels have Bip Pip and Yusei Kikuchi. And the one little note that we looked up right before the show, the Padres are starting 4 left-handed batters tonight, including Gavin Sheets left on left, and Cronenworth, who's usually terrible against lefties, left on left. And Yusei Kikuchi, who's been bad all year, he's great against lefties. No one throws any lefties against him. He's allowed a 154 average, 2 walks and 10 strikeouts, no extra base hits, OPS of 395, OPS plus of 13 compared to 133 for the righties. So I hope this wasn't a lineup mistake by Schilt today, having lefties batting 2, 4, 6, 8 against Kikuchi, because it seems to me like that'd be literally the lineup Kikuchi would pen himself if they were like, hey, cuz, you want your best chance at winning? You can ride out the Padres lineup. You have to use our starters, but line it up any way you want. And he'd be like, yeah, I want a lefty every other at bat. So I could just walk Tatis, get Arise, walk Machado, get Merrill. You know, that's what he's thinking. Now, Merrill will probably take him into the gap, but I don't know.
That's all noteworthy. It does speak to Iglesias not hitting very well that he isn't starting in place of Jake Cronenworth. But at the end of the day, the Padres still have Michael King pitching. So that tells to me, like, if they can put 3 runs across, 4 runs across, they have a nice path to winning this game. They have not had any of their best relievers pitch the last 2 games. And going back to last Wednesday, of the 4 horsemen, Robert Suarez is the only guy to have thrown a pitch in anger, and he threw 3. So this is a rested bullpen that should be able to get through a lineup that is lackluster. They have exactly 2 guys who are even hitting mediocre right now. That's Yohan Moncada and Taylor Ward. So just get through them. If we could have Michael King show up and give us 75 to 85% of what he's been this year, they should start this series off well, and you should be hearing this with the club at it would be 26-14.
Getting a note from our producer who couldn't be here. 100% of the time you spend talking about a game that you haven't watched, but the audience has watched, is 100% time wasted. You're right.
You're right, Rafi. You're right. Dude.
And here on the Tape Delayed Call-In show, next week, call in on this topic. But this week, it's cat news.
And then they're going to see Soriano and Hendricks, like for the games that you guys will see this. Just make it happen.
Eat. My only other thing I would bring up, this is a great Padres team playing great, and I hope that they keep the good times rolling. This should be a week to keep the good times rolling. The Mariners are a good team. I'm not going to overlook our Vetter Cup enemies, but you've got the Blue Jays on the other end of that. The Jays have been hot of late, but again, go look at the June schedule. This is a time that you'd love to see the good times continue to roll and the Padres continue to bank wins. Along the way, to me, if there's one thing A.J. Preller needs to be looking at, it's left field. I think the more I watch, and I think the worst thing that happened to Jason Hayward is he took a Luis Arraez bingo swing and hit a pop fly homer, a Coors Field homer during the super route. And then, man, every at-bat since has just been absolute garbage. But that raised his average to 195 or whatever,
Yeah, even with that, it's a terrible OPS, 517, 292 slug. It's ugly. And his defense has been fine, but the diving catches are making up that he's a step slower. I thought while watching his performance since coming back, like, he must have more outs above average this year than he did last year because he's making these great sliding catches. And no, he's still trending down defensively. And friggin' as a starting major leaguer, 292 slug, OPS of 517. They can't have it, Craig. I saw in the chat, just to throw what I love to do, which is juicy little nonsense about trades. Like, there are options out there, and the club has 2 open spots on its 40-man roster right now. So I am not convinced this isn't something actively being worked on as we speak.
Could make a giant difference. Hayward's, quite a mensch, and I appreciate the story and all of that, but not getting what I'm looking for out there. And if Lockridge is the better of the 2 hitting, it's a scary thing. And I'll just say it again. David Peralta still not signed. What'd he do to you, AJ? Did he MF you on the way out the door? Like, what happened? Like,
he showed up on my feed. He showed up somewhere this week. I think it was for like some sort of social media thing. So he might have moved on, Craig. He might be an actor now. God help me.
Oh, well, that's the last.
That's the last
Speaking
thing I
of
need.
questionable choices,
Oh yeah.
I heard
What's
he's
you doing, Peralta?
I heard he's looking to be a star on Quibi. He's just looking for some short form acting. Says my pinch hitting talents can make me a short form actor. I don't know, man.
Good luck out there, Dave.
All right.
Not for nothing, the club's under the first little surcharge CBT wise. They don't even get penalties like as far as the draft goes and that stuff till they get into the big numbers. So maybe Peralta is the type of guy that could get added.
Look, sometimes when you shop in the dime bin, you find something you really like. Sometimes you go to the thrift store and you find a real bargain, and other times you find a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I think left field. I think a lot of our picks. The Hey Joe platoon. Let's pour one out for the Hey Joe platoon.
Traded to Cincinnati, Mr. Connor Joe.
It's over.
The best
It's
thing I saw that was a great picture of him smiling, looking happy in the Padres uniform. And it said San Diego Padres 2025 to 2025. These meme lords are brutal.
Oh, they're rough. Well, we'll be back with post-game shows over the course of the week, group therapy on the off day.
I want to do one last thing on this note on feeling good. And kudos to Kyle Glazer on this.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
On Twitter.
For reminding
Just
me.
before we go, because this is important, we're talking about guys losing jobs and being in the right headspace when they come up to plate. And Mike Schilt sees all of that. This is via Kyle Glazer on Twitter. Mike Schilt wore a mental health awareness shirt during pregame availability today. At the end, he shared the following message with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. And folks, we've got a fantastic manager in the dugout of Padres. I really love everything this guy does. And this quote is among the best things I have seen him say. So this is Mike Schilt in entirely. One other thing, it is Mental Health Day. I do think it's important. I think every day should be Mental Health Day because, if you don't take care of how you think and how you emotionally feel about yourself and others, it's very important. And I'm glad the organization is acknowledging that. We know that self-love is important. And just a reminder for us and everybody to just be good to yourselves. Even though there's no guarantee everybody's going to love you, but there is a guarantee that you can love yourself. And it's a suggestion that everybody can do just that. Just appreciate and be grateful for what you have. And if you do need some help with anything, asking for help is actually a sign of strength. It's not a weakness. So this is a good reminder for everybody to love themselves. What a guy the Padres got.
Direct quote, Mike Schilt. Tremendous stuff. All right, that's it for the show. As mentioned, post-game shows, group therapy coming up later this week. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Take advantage, be a part of all of it. Look forward to seeing Rafi down the line as well. Until then, for Rafi and Chris, I'm Craig. Go Padres! Now let's go watch that game we just talked about meaninglessly for like 5 minutes.